Hello, everyone. My name is Charlotte Westburg, and usually in contexts like this, I'd say a senior art major from Westmont, but that is a given here, so I won't waste my breath. I'm really excited to talk about my project with you guys. As you all know, there's a lot of time and effort that went into making these pieces. So first things first, the idea was first birthed out of the fact that I was having a really hard time at the beginning brainstorm portion of this year-long process. Professor Anderson can attest to the fact that I came up with a lot of different ideas coming from quilt making to oil painting to dry media, and now finally we were at Prismacolor pencil, which is a portion I'm really happy with. But during that process that I quickly blew through about having a hard time with the brainstorming process, I started to become really frustrated with myself. Um, and that frustration created a tension within me that made it hard for me to feel confident in my artistic abilities, all those typical artist things that we go through. And it wasn't until I realized that this frustration could be an impetus by which I create, and rather than a wall to bash my head against, that I found a solution. I want to be an art therapist. And as such, when I was in my semester abroad, air quotes, in San Francisco, I was given an art therapy book that had all these different exercises in it. And so I went leafing through that booklet looking for some inspiration. And it became really clear to me that I needed to destroy something um, as a therapeutic exercise for myself. So I decided to destroy 5 different objects that have clear purposes and that are commonly seen and used in our daily lives, um, and to render them useless with my dad's tools. So there's 3 points of tension that I see within my work. The first being the tension that I was feeling within myself, and using still life to depict a moment of destruction asks one to consider this moment, and specifically to consider it aesthetically, which I think there's tension in that. Um, and the second point of tension is the fact that I used the colored paper in the background. This was because I was inspired by this artist named Courtney Sparks. She does these compelling paintings with oil that are super realistic, but then she embeds them in this like chaotic, childlike highlighter and crazy scribbling. And so I decided to do something similar to that, also to keep this from being too emo. I didn't want it being super depressing or anything like that.
Maybe talk for a second about the process.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard for me to say exactly how long it took me because I usually lose track of time once I get started, but it was at least 10 hours per piece. But that is me being less than generous, I think, with my guess. Um, yeah, Prismacolor is like industry standard when it comes to colored pencils because it can get super oily, and I'm not sure if it's picking up super well on the camera, but there's like a glossiness that you can get with Prismacolor that I really appreciated, and so this was definitely the choice for me as someone who is a drawer at heart.
All of these objects relate to the head, the mouth, eyes, ears. That's significant.
No, I'm now just realizing that. Yes, I did that on purpose. No, but every object does have some type of personal significance to me. Without going into detail, each one I chose meditatively and then destroyed it in a way that was relevant to the point of tension I was feeling personally in my life at the time.
You made a point of specifically mentioning the use of your dad's tools. Why your father's tools?
My dad's tools, that's another point of tension. Growing up, he did the best he could to instill respect and fear for his workshop. I think my dad is actually here on this Zoom, so he can attest to it, but he would always say this one thing where machines don't have feelings. They'll rip your finger off and they won't cry about it. But he would be saying these things just as he was finishing off sanding a beautiful piece of furniture that we were going to put in our house and would last us for decades. So there's like there's a beauty in the tension between how tools can be used to make something beautiful, but then also can be destructive. And it all depends on the person using it.